So finally, the FX3 and FX30, get the big 6 menu. This is what we're going to be talking about. Obviously the FX2 has just got it because it's a newer camera in the Sony Cine line, and that kind of came out with the big 6 menu, but there's also anamorphic D-squeeze that we need to talk about with this. But I do want to state from the start, definitely follow the instructions when it comes to updating the firmware on your camera. Please read it because you need to update to the correct firmware to be able to update to version 7 in the FX3 or version 6 in the FX30. Alternatively, you can download the Creator app and do all the firmware updates through that. But I'm going to show you the old school way where you actually use an SD card or a Type A card directly into your camera. So look, very basic, make sure you have a fully charged Sony battery directly into your camera. Make sure it's fully charged. You don't want it powering off halfway through and completely bricking your camera. Now, secondly, when you download the firmware update from the website, make sure when it goes onto your computer that it stays the exact same firmware name. Delete all the other firmware updates that have been downloaded onto your PC or onto your Mac. It should say bodydata.dat. It shouldn't have a number 1 next to it or a number 2. If there is a number 1 or a number 2, that essentially means that there are 1 or 2 other firmware updates with the same name, and it's just, you know, numerically putting a number directly in front of it. So delete those, change that one that you've got to directly to that same name, bodydata.dat. It should definitely be that. Then obviously very simple, put it directly into your camera, go into the firmware version, and obviously click firmware update. Now don't touch the camera, don't turn it off, don't take the battery out of it. Make sure it goes through its whole process when it comes to updating, and then the camera will turn on by itself. But I take no responsibility for someone doing this completely wrong. Please read on the website or the Creators app what you're doing before you do the firmware update. Right, now that we got that out of the way, to actually activate the big 6 menu, you actually have to go into menu, go into the image quality, then go into S&Q mode settings. Now it comes standard in the S&Q mode, you actually have to go to fix/variable. Once you click that, it'll actually show you that you can go over to your custom dials and you'll be able to custom that home button to whatever you want, but it defaults it down to the number 4 or the trash can, and all you need to do is go to the main screen, hit that trash can, and that big 6 menu will come up. Obviously, that big 6 menu will stay on your screen, but if you have an external monitor that most videographers and filmmakers will be using, that's where you're going to be displaying the image, and then you can have the big 6 menu just staying on there, which will have just the very basic and crucial things that you generally change. Like the first one is your frame rate, so you can actually click on that and then change your frame rate right there. You can go over to the next one, which is your ISO level, and if you are shooting in Cine EI, you can select your 2 base ISO levels. You can change it from 180-degree shutter and make it a slow shutter or fast shutter, whichever one you want. You obviously have the aperture, you have the look on top as well, and then you have the white balance there. But you have a whole bunch of information in the middle with your time code, what kind of bit rate you're recording at, how much time is left on your memory card, audio, and all those kind of settings. Now the other thing I do want to mention is that they've added 1.5 and 1.6 times D-squeeze in camera. Now that's only display, it's not like the Lumix cameras, it's only just a monitoring LUT. But if you are putting it into that anamorphic D-squeeze mode, it does turn off the IBIS, because unfortunately Sony don't have the algorithm to be working with anamorphic lenses with their IBIS currently. Only Lumix do that, so you do have to be aware that the IBIS will turn off. But it is going to be shaky, so you're going to have to build up the camera to be obviously nice and heavy, which gets rid of the micro jitters. Now also one major feature that I know a lot of people are looking forward to, and that is BRAW directly external recording from these cameras. Now if you do use the Blackmagic Assist, you can actually record BRAW directly into that. Now you do obviously have to wait till Blackmagic have their updates in their monitors, but now that Sony do allow that, it's purely up to the Blackmagic Monitor Assist that will be able to record that BRAW. But you know, I don't use BRAW, I don't use DaVinci. ProRes RAW is something that I would use, but I still don't use ProRes RAW anyway. And hey, if one of you guys test out the BRAW, please let me know. That would be absolutely amazing, and I'd love to share it with a whole bunch of people. Now look, there are a whole bunch of other features that they have updated in these 2 cameras, so I'll leave it on the screen right now for you guys to see. So anyway, my friends, hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Obviously subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.